Okay, we are, in my book, on page 128, the second paragraph. And these are the reminiscences of Swami Brahmananda. We visited the Belar Mat in the afternoon. First we went to the shrine room. Then we came downstairs. When we came downstairs, we found Swami Brahmananda conversing with several devotees under a mango tree. Swami Brahmananda, the master used to say, once a man fed an opium pill to a peacock. Every day thereafter, the peacock would return for his dose of the drug. So the master has given opium to these boys. Therefore, they can't stay home. They take every opportunity to come here. Blessed indeed are those whom he has attracted, whom the Lord chooses. By him is he attained. Only through his... Excuse me, there seems to be a helicopter going over. Only through his grace are loosened the bondages and delusions caused by Maya. Now, he did not mean literally that the master gave the boys opium, as everyone knows. He gave them divine inspiration, which kept them coming back. This time again, we found Maharaj seated in an easy chair on the upstairs veranda. A few devotees sat on the floor in front of him. A devotee said, Maharaj, I cannot control my mind. Many distracting thoughts arise. What shall I do? Will I be able to practice any spiritual disciplines? How can I worship and meditate? Maharaj, pray to the Lord, practice with regularity. Gradually, the mind will become inclined to worship and meditate. In the beginning, the mind will refuse to come under control, but force it, urge it, entreat it in order to fix it on meditation. Faith and regularity are very important. Nobody can succeed in anything without them. You have to practice spiritual disciplines in such a way that no matter what your circumstances may be, you will follow your regular routine. Once the mind tastes sweetness in the thought of God, there is nothing to fear. Seek the association of the holy so that you may acquire that taste. If anybody has tasted the nectar of God's name, is it possible for him to give up chanting it? The power of his name is such that the effect is realized, whether one repeats it with feeling or mechanically. The master used to say, suppose a man is walking on the bank of the Ganges. He can bathe in the river willingly, or he may accidentally fall into it, or somebody may push him in. He will have a bath in the Ganges anyway. I'll tell one little story that happened to me while I was in Benares, which is not the place you want to bathe in the Ganga. And I was stepping off a boat as we were getting up to Shivanath Temple. Yeah. And I slipped and fell into the Ganga. And someone grabbed me and yanked me up, pulled me onto the shore. And I thought, well, okay, I've had a bath in the Ganga in the right at the holiest city. Not one that I would choose to do. The power of the Lord's name is great indeed. Ajamil, who was dying, was thirsty and called his son Narayan to bring him water. Thus he attained liberation at the moment of death. Narayan is the name of God. It is a Hindu belief that if a man utters the Lord's name at the last moment, he achieves salvation. Man's mind is forever restless. It remains distracted for many reasons. Association with the holy will bring it under control. Live in the society of the holy people and follow their advice. If you do, you will be saved from much grief and trouble. If your mind does not become absorbed in God, it will be impossible for you to protect yourself from the many temptations of the world. By His grace, may your mind be directed toward the reality. Unless one is strong in his strength, one cannot save oneself from the network of Maya. Be strong in His strength. Life is flowing like a river. The day that is done does not return. Blessed is he who uses his time fruitfully. Through many good deeds in many past lives, you have been born as a human being. Make this human birth blessed by worshiping the Lord, by meditating on Him. Shankara said, human birth, desire for liberation, and association with the holy. Only through God's grace may we obtain these three rarest advantages. Through the Master's grace, you have all these three. Struggle to obtain the Lord and make this human birth blessed. Life is impermanent. No one knows when it will end. Exert yourself to secure that treasure which will give you immortal life. While you are young, you can struggle to find God. One must strive hard to realize Him. There is no danger of falling if one holds fast to the pillar while whirling around it. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, when you go to a temple in order to visit the deity, you will never see it if you spend your time doling out alms to the beggars. You must push through the crowd, enter the temple, worship the deity, and then you may do whatever you please. The next time we went to the monastery, Swami Brahmananda said, Maharaj has gone to live at Balaram Mandir. While he was at the Mat, his radiant presence gave light to us all. Now that he is gone, it seems very dark. You should go to Balaram Mandir and visit him. Maharaj is the shepherd boy of Vrindavan, a close associate of Sri Ramakrishna. He has come to earth to perform his part in the Master's divine play. As a result of much austerity in many births, one receives the grace of such a great soul as Maharaj. You boys are blessed. After a couple of days, we went to visit Maharaj at Balaram Mandir. He received us affectionately. Then he asked, how did you know that I'm staying here? I answered, we went to the monastery and could not see you there. Swami Brahmananda said that you were at Balaram Mandir and told us to visit you here. Maharaj smiled a little and said, I understand. Brother Babaram throws your burden on me. Soon, Ramlal Dada, Sri Ramakrishna's nephew, arrived. Maharaj seemed very happy to have Dada with him. He took him into the drawing room, offered him a seat, and sat down beside him. Gradually, devotees gathered, each prostrating before Ramlal Dada and Maharaj as they arrived. Whenever someone prostrated before Maharaj first, he would object. Oh no, first bow down to Dada. He belongs to the family of our Guru, and Guru and God are one. In Dada's veins flows the blood of the family into which our Lord was born. I'm sure Maharaj said these words in order to inspire the devotees with greater faith in Sri Ramakrishna and his family. During some of Ramlal Datta's visits to Maharaj, we have also observed that the latter would stand with folded hands and offer Datta a seat before he himself would sit down. Today, Maharaj seemed to be in a particularly exalted mood because Ramlal Datta's presence reminded him of the old days in Dakshineshwar. Maharaj said, "Datta, please tell us something about our master." Ramlal Datta, "Well, brother, in those days, I for one did not recognize his greatness. I used to think, he is our uncle. He has received the Divine Mother's special grace, and that is why many people come to him." Then, pointing to Maharaj, Ramlal Datta continued, "Really, brother, it is you who truly recognize that Supreme Person. Inspired by his ideal of renunciation, you gave up family, wife, and everything. That is why, having touched the Philosopher's Stone through his grace, you have become an heir to eternal life. And now, with both hands, you are distributing it to others, the bliss of immortality. Although we are his blood relatives, we did not realize who he was. But through his grace, I have this much faith, that as long as we have been born into his family, we have found refuge at his lotus feet. From his lips I have heard that when a man attains illumination, seven generations of his family before and after him become liberated. And the Lord himself was born into our family as a human being. Through his grace and in his holy company, we also had many visions and spiritual experiences. Thus he gave his faith and devotion to him. In the garden house at Kasipur on that memorable day, he touched me as well as others. This is a note. This was January 1st, 1886, the occasion when Sri Ramakrishna gave unusual spiritual graces to all present. We call it Kalpatara Day. I feel a thrill whenever I recall that wonderful experience I had as a result of his touch. About this experience, Ramlal Datta later said, "That day by his touch, he gave me a clear vision of my chosen ideal. And the absorption he gave me when I would sing kirtan with him is beyond expression. He who knows, knows." The master used to say, referring to himself and his intimate disciples, "The party of minstrels came and went. Nobody recognized them." He was a rare soul. He exemplified the virtue of giving honor to all. Whenever he asked us to do the smallest thing out of consideration, he would ask with great hesitancy, "Maharaj, well, brother, at the beginning we did not understand the master either. Often we were disrespectful to him. But he is the ocean of unconditional grace. He has forgiven our many faults and has made us his own by his love and affection. In those days I was very proud and used to lose my temper over trifling things. The master said to me, 'Anger is demonic. Pride and anger are great obstacles in spiritual path. You have come here to live a holy life. Give up anger and envy.' In him alone we found our mother, our father, our brother, our friend, our everything." Maharaj folded his hands and chanted the verse, "Thou art my mother and father, thou art my friend and constant companion. Thou art my wisdom and my wealth. Thou art my all in all, my God of gods." Maharaj closed his eyes. After a while he said, "There has never come to earth another who is such an ocean of boundless grace. Those who have understood the truth and those whom he made understand through his grace, they alone can know and understand him. Blessed are they." He quoted Hanuman's words to Rama's sons, O Kusha and Lava, why are you proud? If I did not let myself be caught, could you ever catch me? Sri Ramakrishna is attached to his devotees. The breeze of his grace is blowing. Take a little trouble to set your sail. Then the touch of that breeze of grace will make your boat of life land at his feet. The Master spoke frequently about self-control and earnestness. Without enthusiasm and self-effort, nothing can be achieved in spiritual life. He would say, I have cooked and placed the food before you. Now you must use your hand to put the food into your mouth. This much exertion is needed. Pray to the Lord with all your heart. Then alone you will long for him. When one is hungry, one enjoys food. When one has no appetite, one doesn't care even for delicacies. And that is why people don't taste the nectar of his name. Now that a little of your mind goes towards the Lord, apply your mind and practice. As you practice, you will receive help. The Master used to say, the mother supplies from her storehouse of knowledge. If you want to feel the heat of a fire, it won't do to stay too far away. You have to get close to the fire in order to feel the heat. Keep association with the holy. Go to one who knows the path. Learn about the path and walk on the path. Then alone you will reach your destination someday. Then alone will arise faith and devotion. Ramlal Dada said goodbye. He was about to return to Dakshineshwar. We prostrated before Maharaj and Ramlal Dada, and meditating on their entrancing words and on the boundless grace of Sri Ramakrishna, we left Balaram Mandir. Once again I went to Balaram Mandir to visit Maharaj. In the course of conversation, the subject of our mission work came up. Maharaj said, if one works unselfishly, without desiring the fruits of action, work does not create any bondage. Swamiji used to say, work is worship. Is it possible for everybody to meditate all the time? That is why Swamiji taught selfless service in order to make it easy for people to reach union with God. Know that all work is the Lord's work. Learn to forget yourself while working. The aim of all spiritual practice is to destroy the sense of ego. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, when the ego dies, all troubles cease. As long as we are egotistic, so long is he at a distance. The Master used to give this illustration. As long as the manager is in the storeroom, the head of the house does not go there. If anybody asks something of him, he directs that person to the manager. Work, devotion, discrimination, each one is a path to reach union with God. With the same whole-souled devotion with which a devotee worships the Lord in the shrine, he must serve the Lord in the poor, in the sick, in the lowly. Who are you to help another? It is only when the Lord gives you the power that you can really serve. True it is that in all creatures he dwells, but his greater manifestation is in man. That is why Swamiji encouraged us to serve mankind. One must have faith that the one Brahman is in man, woman, in all creatures, and with that faith one must learn to serve Shiva in the form of Jiva, God in the form of man. As you practice this, suddenly one day the veil will be lifted and you will see that it is he who has become everything, man and universe. He who pervades the universe in so many forms. It is he who pervades the universe in so many forms. You are that all-pervading Shiva, and thus can serve Shiva in the form of Jiva. Once the master asked Mani Malak's daughter, "Whom do you love the most?" She replied, "I have a nephew. I love him the most." The master told her, "Very good. Serve your nephew, bathe him, and feed him as baby Krishna." She followed the master's advice, and in course of time she had the vision of baby Krishna in the nephew. Practice any spiritual discipline with faith and devotion. In the end, it will lead you to the same goal. After about a week, I went to the Udbodhan and prostrated before Swami Sardananda. A young Swami was asking his advice about some work. Swami Sardananda gave his opinion and then said, "Go to Balaram Mandir and ask Maharaj about it. Maharaj's word is the master's word. Whatever Maharaj says to us, we consider as coming directly from Sri Ramakrishna. The master and his spiritual son are one and the same." We went to Balaram Mandir. Maharaj was seated in the living room, surrounded by many devotees. His eyes were half closed. After some time, he said, "What is the aim of spiritual life? To know him, to attain union with him. Through his grace, the knot of the heart, which is ignorance, is loosed. All doubts are dissolved. All evil effects of deeds are destroyed when he who is both personal and impersonal is realized. Take refuge in him and earnestly pray for his grace. Why did you come here renouncing hearth and home? While eating, while lying down, while standing, while sitting, pray to him. Lord, give me the power to feel and understand your grace." We are only travelers in this world. Our eternal abode is at the lotus feet of God. Sri Krishna said in the Gita, "I am the end of the path, the witness, the Lord, the sustainer. I am the place of abode, the beginning, the friend and the refuge. I am the breaking apart and the storehouse of life's dissolution. I lie under the scene of all creatures, the seed that is changeless. Unfortunate is he who, instead of taking refuge in God, becomes entangled in the world. The blessed feet of the Lord are our eternal home. We must reach them somehow. He alone is the truth. That truth is to be attained. Let not your life pass by in vain. Almost everyone thinks that what he understands is the truth and the way for everybody. Sometimes man becomes so egotistic and thinks himself so important that he does not even accept the existence of God. It is this ego that binds a man to Maya. There is no escape until you feel, not I, but thou, O my Lord." Swamiji used to sing this song, "Thou art my Lord, thou art my master. I am thy servant, I am thy slave." Again he would sing, "All that exists art thou. Only he knows God on whom his grace descends. Never forget that the ideal is to know him. Know him and the door to infinite wisdom opens. Then is it that one really feels God is my own, I belong to him." Sri Krishna said in the Gita, "Lay down all duties in me, your refuge. Fear no longer, for I will save you from sin and from bondage." This is his promise. Give me your whole heart, love and adore me. Worship me always, bow to me only, and you shall find me. The Master repeatedly prayed, "Thou art my refuge, O Lord. I seek no physical pleasures. I do not want worldly happiness. Give me faith and give me pure love for thy lotus feet. Destroy my sense of ego and make me thine." In this age, there is no other way than that than that of taking shelter at his feet. In the Iron Age, man's span of life is short. And within this short span of life, one has to attain him. There is no time for severe austerities as in the olden days. The mind is weak. That is why man is more attached to worldly pleasures. In spite of all weakness, the easiest way to attain God is to take refuge in him. What does this mean? Shall we not do anything? Shall we remain passive? No. We must pray, we must cry unto God that he may awaken in us longing for him, and that our cravings for enjoyment may be wiped out. Pray, O Lord of the universe, reveal your grace to me. I am helpless. I have no shelter but you. You are the only refuge of the weak. Give me strength to remember you always. If one can really surrender oneself to God, then everything becomes easy. But it is not so easy to do this. Without divine grace, it is not possible to take refuge in God. And in order to feel this grace, you must associate with holy men, read sacred books, and pray earnestly. The mind deludes us in many ways. We must control it and direct it along the right path. What is austerity? It is to direct the mind toward God in order to taste divine bliss. In this age, it is not necessary to practice physical austerities, such as standing on your head. The path in this age is to create the desire to chant the Lord's name, to be compassionate towards all beings, and to serve holy men. The sage Narada attained devotion and knowledge of Brahman by serving holy men. Ego is destroyed through service. Sri Ramakrishna's message in this age is renunciation of lust and gold. You have joined the monastery in order to become holy men. Renunciation of lust and gold is the ornament of a holy man, and it is the only means of attaining God. As one progresses on the path of spirituality, one is confronted by many kinds of temptations, cravings, such as for women and gold, for name and fame, arise again and may lead one further away from God. Unless you beware of this thief in the form of cravings, he will steal all the goodness in you, and you will drown in the bottomless ocean of worldliness. But, on the other hand, there is the ocean of divine grace. If anyone will sincerely call on him but once, the Master used to say, if you move one step toward him, he comes down 10 steps toward you. God is the wish-fulfilling tree. He fulfills the heart's desire of his devotee. Be sincere, make your mind and lips the same. There is no injustice in God's kingdom. The Master told us, I have done 100%, you do 1%. What hard austerities the Master practiced in order that our path might be easy. Make him your refuge. Be an heir to immortal bliss in this life. Make your human birth blessed. Another day, Maharaj asked Bhardananda to sing several songs. After the music, Maharaj said, Blessed is he in whose heart a current of joy flows continually while he chants the name and sings the praises of the Lord. Keep recollectedness of God and make your life blessed. Otherwise, vain is this human birth. O Lord, your children are almost dead, deluded by your Maya. Give them your life-giving medicine and make them immortal. You have left hearth and home. Now forget physical comforts and pray. Lord, thou art my all in all, my support and my only treasure. And I think we'll stop there this evening. If anyone has anything they would like to comment on or ask a question, now is the time. Okay. Then I think we'll end with a chant. Oh, wait, no, I have to give you the program. Okay. The program is now Saturday, we will have the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna at 5 o'clock in the temple and on Zoom. Sunday, the 6th of June, there will be a lecture here in the temple and Zoom and Zoom. Now, just who do you think you are? By Swami Mahayogananda. So I hope those of you that are in town can attend, and those that aren't will attend via Zoom. Now we'll end with a chant. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna